Estalo direktője.
Jastik.
Ma tengo telefono lì.
No, io saluto solo e poi mi sento. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As promised, here we are for the second part of the 2020 Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team presentation. The press conference is about to start. I'd like to take this occasion to thank all the members of the press again for being here with us today, and all the fans that have tuned in on MotoGP.com's channel. Thank you for being with us today. We are ready to start our press conference. Let me briefly introduce the VIPs in front of me, from left to right. Massimo Meregalli, the team director of Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP. Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP rider Maverick Viñales, Lynn Jarvis, the managing director of Yamaha Motor Racing and the team principal of the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team. Of course, Valentino Rossi, and then Sumi-san, the project leader of the Yamaha YZR M1. But before we start with the press conference, we have a statement from the president of Yamaha Motor Racing and the general manager of Motorsports Development Division, Hiroshi Ito. Thank you.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hiroshi Ito. I am general manager of Yamaha Motorsports Development Division in Yamaha Motor Corporation, Japan, and president of Yamaha Motor Racing. Watch this one. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing that team that will be fighting for Yamaha in the 2020 MotoGP season. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to both of our factory riders, Maverick Viñales and Valentino Rossi, for their big effort last season and their large contribution to setting up for the start of this year. In this Japan test, we will check our new M1's performance again and set up the machine in the right way for both riders, so they can start the season with a good feeling. Managing Director Lynn Jarvis is the driving force behind all Yamaha Motor Racing activity. Together, we operate as the front and rear wheel of our motorcycle. It is necessary to make good traction together in our relationship to do well and move the team and Yamaha's engineering forward. I want to say thank you to him as well, because he was instrumental in creating the right condition for our preparations in these last 2 months. Thanks to his effort, we had a strong motivation and focus for 2020 and a solid basis for the good future afterward from 2021 and beyond. A final thank you is well deserved for all our Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team members and Yamaha Motor Company engineer and Yamaha Motor Racing colleagues, who also made a big effort to prepare everything for the start of 2020 in the limited time available since the end of last season. Last year, we struggled a little bit at the start of the season. But for this year, we feel we are better prepared. We have good confidence for this season, so I am very excited to show our performance and create exciting MotoGP plays for the fans all over the world. We will be returning to the top position in MotoGP in the near future. Please look forward with us to a very interesting and exciting race season. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ito-san. Ito-san is the president of Yamaha Motor Racing and the general manager of Motorsports Development Division at Yamaha Motor Company in Japan. And now we are ready to start our press conference. Before offering the microphone to the members of the press, let me just start with one question to Lynn Jarvis, the managing director of Yamaha Motor Racing. Lynn, it was a busy winter, we know. All people working at Yamaha Motor Racing, Yamaha Motor Company know it was a very busy winter filled with hard preparation and important decisions and eventually big announcements. So my question to you, Lynn, is what are your expectations, that you know what happened last winter, what are your expectations for the coming season? And can you make us a brief review of what happened last winter?
Yeah, thank you very much. And also thank you to all the journalists for coming here for the media conference today. Yeah, it's people talk sometimes about the winter break, but we have not seen a winter break this year, neither in Japan nor in Europe. Basically, we've been extremely busy, including our riders. Immediately after the last race, of course, in Valencia, there was the Valencia test followed by the Jerez test. Now, these two tests were very, very important for us for deciding the direction for 2020. So already we made very good progress last year, especially in the second half of the season. And clearly Yamaha was back on track and we found our way. But anyway, we know that we had some deficit in some areas. So we need more. And basically in these two tests, we confirmed the prototype engine for 220 that the Yamaha Japan engineers had designed. So it was very important in those two tests to confirm which direction we were going to take. So that was a clear decision, was taken by both riders, and we moved forward. That meant that the Japanese engineers obviously had to then develop and had to spend a lot of time, energy, and effort to take that decision one step further. And what you will see here in the next 3 days will be the results of their work throughout the winter. So they've been extremely busy indeed. From, let's say, the European side, also we've been very busy due to, let's say, the fact that, in particular, I would say, the riders' market has been, it's very competitive today in MotoGP. You have 6 manufacturers that are very hungry to plan their future, and everybody is hungry to capture the riders of the future as well. So we've also faced that situation, especially in January this year, where the market was already getting very, very hot. We had our own riders, existing young, talented riders, pushing us as well, looking for a sense of direction and decision. We then, in making that move, let's say, that we made and the announcements that followed, we firstly consulted with Valentino to understand his direction and his way of thinking about beyond 2020 season. And Valentino quite rightly said that he wanted to spend time and wanted to see the level of his competitive performance before he took a decision. So we were faced in a situation where, frankly, if we waited too long, we would have lost some of our young talent. And so we took a decision as a company to, anyway, we would call it in Italian, is the best name, better than British, I think, prenotazione. So we took a booking, an advance booking for 21, 22, with 2 of the youngest talented riders within our camp to make sure that we could rely upon them for the following 2 seasons. So I would say that was the main background of that move. We then, on the last week, as you know, we also announced another arrival to our squad, and that was the arrival of Jorge Lorenzo, who's returning to Yamaha after 3 years away. I don't know where he was in these last 3 years, on some sort of holiday, but anyway, it's great to have him come back to the camp again, returning to Yamaha. And you know, last year that we took a decision to change test riders. At that time, we were maybe criticized because people said, they talk about the test team, but now they don't have a rider. Anyway, when Jorge decided to retire at the end of last year, we saw that as an opportunity. So we welcome him back, and we think that his support can help us in the 20 season, but also in 21 as well. So that's talking about the future. We've made some changes in our team this year. In particular, we have a new crew chief for Valentino, David Munoz, who will join us as another important change to get the maximum out of the performance on the, shall we say, Valentino's side of the garage. So in discussion with Valentino, we made a change there. And we really want to focus now on 220 season. So we did these announcements early to get it out the way, and we are fully committed to 220. And we will give our maximum effort to Maverick, who obviously decided to stay with us in the future as well. But we saw him stepping up last year again, refinding himself as the bike found himself. So we expect a lot from him. And we also expect a lot from Valle. And I think that these new performances on the bike should give him also the chance to perform at his best level again. So honestly, I think it's going to be a very exciting season. We don't know our competitors' performance. We saw a little bit in the shakedown test, but you can't tell anything yet. So we are as curious as you are to see what is our benchmark, what is our level compared to our competitors. But trust me, Yamaha Japan is fully committed. Yamaha Racing is fully committed to extracting the maximum performance, and our goal is to return to be world champion. And that's what we will be trying to do all year.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Thank you for your exhaustive explanation of the path we went through to arrive here in Sepang for the first MotoGP test in 2020. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's your turn. Please raise your hands and ask your questions to our VIPs sitting here. Just one courtesy, please introduce yourself before your questions, so that especially Sumi-san, who might not know who all of you are. So please introduce yourself and then ask your questions. Paolo Scalera.
Paolo Scalera, GP1.com. I would like to ask a question to Lynn. I would like to know which one of the riders that you convinced to stay with Yamaha was more difficult to convince, Maverick, Jorge, or to accept the fact that Valentino hasn't decided yet?
It's difficult to answer that question. I would say, honestly, the most difficult for me was the discussion with Valentino, because when we recognized his, shall we say, requirement and request to delay the decision, which we totally understand, it had consequences. So the other discussions were more positive because they were only positive. In the case of Valentino, the consequence of our meeting, which we had together, was that if we needed to wait, then we would not be able to prolong the career in the factory team. But as you know, we have already assured Valentino, should he choose to continue in MotoGP, he will have the full support of Yamaha Motor Company.
Hi, David Emmett, Moto Matters. Question for you, Valentino. Obviously this is a strange situation for you. Does this make it more or less likely that you will retire? Does it have any impact at all on your own decision about your future, or are you still just determined to keep racing as long as you're competitive?
Yeah. Allora, from one side, there was a difficult decision for me because, like Lin said, I know that waiting have a consequence, and the consequence is that don't continue in the factory team. But from the other side, was not difficult to take the decision because I don't want to continue if I'm not competitive. Because anyway, for try to stay at the top in every sport, especially when you are not still not very young, you need a lot of effort. And forgive the maximum, you need to work every day in the modern MotoGP. So this you can do if you have motivation, if you enjoy, and the results are the most important part. So for this reason is like this, but I know that I ask to Yamaha the support, and they say yes if I want to continue, because my target is, the first target is anyway continue in 2021. And we have a fantastic team that is the Petronas team that is demonstrate that they are at very high level and they are very competitive. So at the end, will not change a lot.
Another question, this time to Valentino. In the case you will decide to continue in 2021 and 22, you will get with you your actual team, I mean all the mechanics and techniques that you have here now, or you will change to Petronas with a completely new team?
Allora, first of all, it's not 21-22, but I want to consider year by year. I think is better. And also Yamaha is agree. About the team, we don't know. We don't speak yet, because it will depends very much from also the decision from Quartararo, if he takes somebody from his team or everybody. So we don't speak. We still don't speak about this. But in one side, if you make a change, you can make a complete change, or some other way. We don't decide yet. The important for me is have first of all that Yamaha is happy that we continue together and continue to trust in me, and have a factory bike and the maximum support. So like this.
Again for you, Valentino. What's your opinion about the choice of Fabio?
Like we spoke also last year. Sometimes I think that Yamaha make the right choice, especially because Quartararo last year was impressive for everybody. I think that the people in the paddock know that Quartararo can be very competitive. But not like this. Is a surprise, more or less, for everybody, and is very, 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 very young and very strong. So I think that is the right decision.
But it's also a risky choice because he didn't win nothing. He's not the world champion. He didn't win a race in MotoGP. So it's a bet on the future.
Yes, but you have to consider that he finished second 4 times maybe. And last year have Marquez and Honda that were another level, you know. So also for this reason, Quartararo doesn't win. But have some races like now, remember maybe Valencia or Thailand or Misano that he arrived very, very close. And for a rookie, it's not easy.
A question for both Maverick and for Valentino. Obviously, Jorge is back as a test rider. Could you explain how important that is for both of you and for Yamaha to have a rider like Jorge on the bike?
Yes, for me it's really important because as also we are nearly from the same place, we spoke same language, you know, also characteristics are very similar. For me, it's much more easy to work, and also he has been world champion with this bike, so he knows what to do to be world champion. And, you know, in all this year, we didn't been that competitive to win one title. So to have the opportunity to have the own words from Jorge to support the team and to understand what you have to do to be world champion will be very important. Also, for the development of the bike, Jorge has been in Yamaha on the best days of Yamaha, so he will know very good what we need to improve.
For me, Jorge is perfect for Yamaha, for us. Because, so maybe somebody have, first of all, I push a lot with Lin and with Yamaha for speak with Jorge, because I think that is a clever decision. Maybe somebody have some doubt, because Jorge last year, at the end, was a lot in trouble with the Honda. But I always said to them that it's enough that he ride one day the M1 and he can be competitive. And in fact, it was like this already the first day. And for us, it's important because now in the modern MotoGP is I don't want to say crucial, but very important to have a good test team that bring data and everything. But you need a rider that can be strong, can be fast, can make the same lap time than us. So for us, I think that will be a big help for improve the bike in a shorter time.
Sumi-san, question for you. Last year, the one thing that the riders kept asking for was more power, a faster engine to be able to keep up on the straight. Obviously, Lin was explaining that you tested the engine at Jerez and in Valencia, and that seemed to be the right direction. Can you tell us a little bit about the performance you expect from the new engine for this year?
We started developing from middle of the last year, and very hard during the winter. Of course, I cannot complain about engineer is always no winter break. But this year, I cannot complain so much because office side is more busy. So, but we put all the effort, not only our inside our developing, but all the Yamaha's resources. So we try to improve, not finished yet, but we could see the specific improvement. So we want to confirm in these 3 days. So yeah, we believe we can more close to the others.
Yes, I have a question for Sumi-san first and then for Lin Jarvis. Sumi-san, you just mentioned the internal resources inside the company. Can you explain how or in which area these resources came from, aerodynamics, electronics, or whatever?
Yeah, we are the company or manufacturing and developing the motorcycle. Our M1 is one of the kind of the motorcycle, and we have many kind of engineers for designing and some computer simulation for something everywhere aerodynamics and some combustion engine. So we put asking to be supported from every side, and also for the manufacturing side, we put together all the resources to our project. Yeah, we appreciate for the cooperation for the all Yamaha. Yeah.
Thank you. Lina, regarding the test project, is Jorge to test things that will be tested first in Japan with the Japanese test rider? And the second, is there a chance that he can race a Grand Prix during the season in case of he's doing very well?
Yeah, the basic mission of Jorge, or this, should we say, European-based team, is obviously the bread and butter testing will be done by the Japanese engineers in Japan. We have two very riders. We have two very experienced riders, Nozane and Nakasuga. So they will continue their work without any change. The difference means is that now we can take whatever they are trying and believe could be good, we can then bring it to a Grand Prix track with a Grand Prix rider at Grand Prix speed, and we can get a real feedback of how that may work in race time. Because as you know, with the change of the calendar for next year, there is less and less testing for the official rider. So we are obliged and forced to step up. And one of the disadvantages that the Japanese manufacturers have compared to Europeans, obviously, is the location. So we do a lot of our bread and butter testing in Japan in our own private test track, Fukuroi, or also sometimes at Motegi. But that doesn't give us the opportunity to test it at Grand Prix tracks that we are using very frequently, obviously, in Europe. So I think that this will give a better bridge between what we think may work, and then we will probably know whether it's going to work before we'll give it to Maverick and Valentino to try. Wild card, yeah. We have discussed it, and it's optional. So it's optional for Jorge and optional for us. So if he feels he would like to do, and if we have the capacity to do it, then we will do it. Obviously, our goal, the main mission of Jorge's contract with us is development of the bike. So we are more likely to select a Grand Prix where it has a good sense for us to do the wild card and then do a test, rather than to, shall we say, just pick a race out of the blue where there's no logic to do a wild card. So it's a matter that we will discuss together, and I think Jorge needs to feel comfortable and needs to feel that he will be up to racing speeds. But why not?
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, because we've been talking about him a lot so far. So I'd like to ask you to join me and put your hands together to invite Jorge Lorenzo to sit with our VIPs, but especially to welcome him back in the Yamaha family. Thank you, Jorge. Jorge, my first question then is to you, and then I will leave the microphone again to our friends, members of the press. Jorge, you had the chance to ride the M1, and using your words, your beloved bike. So I'd like to ask you, especially after that very emotional press conference in Valencia last year, where all of us attended and cried also. So what was your feeling to be back on the M1 2 days ago?
Well, first of all, I'm happy to be back, let's say, home. My real home is at Lugano, as you know, but let's say my professional home, for the moment, I can say that is Yamaha. Firstly, because I've been in that team for 9 years, and secondly, because it's the only MotoGP team where I won world titles. And third, because I always felt very comfortable, as I could see again these 3 days. So I'm very glad to be back again, and very willing to keep this work that we started the other day and help, especially Yamaha, to win again another world title.
Thank you, Jorge. Please.
A question for Lynn and a question for Jorge. I think a question for Lynn first. Well, the same question for both of you, but for you first, Lynn. Did you get an angry phone call from Alberto Puig when this was announced?
No, I didn't, but I don't really know why I should. So, you know, our discussion are only with Jorge. We, as management of the MotoGP teams, we don't tend to talk a lot.
Well, in my case, I have to say that, as I said in other interviews, Alberto was always very smart and always very loyal, and I always got full support in the year I spent in Honda. And also, for that reason, and also I'm very grateful that they didn't put any clausule to avoid me to ride with another bike this year, because they could do, but they didn't. So for that reason, I can work in that role. So yeah, I didn't receive obviously any call from Alberto, but I always be very grateful for his support during 2019 season, and to don't apply this clausule after break my contract with Honda for 2020.
No more questions from the floor?
Jorge, do you think you could reconsider your decision to stop racing? Because the market is open for 2021 and some teams are looking for riders.
You know, my first idea when I retired was to retire completely. I think I spent 18 years of my life fully commitment for win and for compete and for working really hard to get my mission. Now I think I am in a different stage of my life. But also I have to say that the other day I enjoy a lot riding the Yamaha. I feel again the happiness I didn't feel for a long time. Maybe the last time I felt a professional happiness was when I win in 2018 3 races in four races. This stage was very, very happy. But unfortunately with injuries and bad results, I couldn't feel the same in this last 1 year and a half. And for the moment, these 3 days were very happy for me. So if I say in Valencia, there was 99% of chances to don't come back, now can be 98.
One question to Jorge. I imagine that because you are able to ride the Yamaha, so giving the Yamaha the proper and right information to develop the bike, you can tell us also in 2 words, how can you describe the last 3 bikes you rode in the last 3 years? Just 2 words to describe Ducati, Honda, and Yamaha.
I can speak about other bikes, or better not?
Only badly.
Only badly. Well, Ducati is not very difficult, no, to describe, also from the outside, but also from the inside. It's obvious that it's a very powerful bike. So I would say the power. Honda, difficult to describe, because I suffer a lot this year. But let's say it's very agile bike. And Yamaha keep being the smoother bike and the more easiest bike if you are a smooth rider.
And the diplomacy award for 2020 goes to Jorge Lorenzo. Manuel.
Maverick, you won races last year. What do you need to beat Mr. Unbeatable Marc Marquez? What do you exactly need?
Start first. I need to start first, or at least first or second. It's very important, because all last year we have been struggling on the first laps, because we already know where we were missing everything. But I think this year we are working very hard to at least improve a lot these first laps, because after lap 10, I think we are always able to ride on the best lap times and on the best pace, but it's important to be there from the first lap. So for myself, for our part of the team, the main focus is to improve the start and the first lap. That will be the key to work against Marc, for sure.
I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me remind you a couple of things before we wrap this press conference. Firstly, Valentino will be back in a few minutes for his own media debrief, followed by Maverick's media debrief in nearly 20 minutes. After that, there will be the Petronas Yamaha Sepang Racing Team press conference here, so do not miss it. And after the press conference, light refreshments for all the members of the press in the foyer of the press conference room. And now, to wrap up this press conference, gentlemen, can you please stand up for a final picture? Please remain seated for all photographers and cameramen.
We have to dance?
After the TikTok performance in Jakarta, Indonesia. And now can we have the three riders together, Vale, Maverick, and Jorge? Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me remind you that while Valentino will be giving his media debrief here, that Maverick will be doing TV interviews in the foyer. So please refer to our press officers for the schedule for the next 1 hour, and then see you here again for the Petronas Yamaha Sepang Racing Team press conference. Thank you again for joining us today, and see you tomorrow for the first MotoGP test here in Sepang, Malaysia. Thank you.
Was vet molt bé, tio.
Hi to everybody. As usual, we do a normal media debrief. We start in English with the question, and then we'll do in Italian, the language of the rider. So we start in English, and we can start directly with the question. Who wants to start?
Valentino, I'm sure that you have followed the Monte Carlo Rally and what happened to Tanak and what said Sebastian Loeb about his performance. No, you didn't.
Yeah. Allora, I see the huge crash of Tanak, and I saw that Loeb was not very strong. No, he finished
and he said
5,
that
6.
He recognized that maybe now he's too old,
He's too old.
to race. And
he's older than me.
Yes.
Loeb? Yes, a little bit. Yes. Okay.
Yes, but yeah,
like 2 or 3 years.
He's older, but he has 4 wheels, so I don't know.
yeah, maybe yes. With 2 wheels, you become older before.
So, is a risk something you consider on, with your choice? Is a part of your choice or not?
Yes, I say yes, but in general, not for the idea that I have 40 years old or 41. But from the result of last year, because in the second half of the season I struggling very much, maybe also a little bit earlier than the second half. I did some good races like in Misano or Sepang or also in Austria like this. I don't arrive on the podium, but anyway I was competitive. But in other places I suffer a lot, and sincerely for me, I think for everybody, but especially for me, that I race from 25 years and I'm not young anymore, become very heavy, because for try to stay at the top level, you need a big effort. 1 month of holiday, and the rest. The 85% of your life is between training with the bike, with test, training at the gym, PR, events, everything. So for continue, you need to have the right motivation, and the motivation for me coming from the result. If I can fight for the podium and I can be competitive, I have motivation, and my target is try to continue also next year. But if the results are not what I expect, become difficult. So for this reason, I when we speak with Yamaha, I'm not ready to decide. Like for example, to the last contract that I signed, where I was sure, and I signed before Qatar, because I don't want to continue like this. So if it's like this, it's better stop.
Valentino, Vale. If you do continue, is it only Petronas, or is there a chance you might ride on a VR46 Yamaha, or even for another manufacturer maybe?
For me, Petronas is the best option. Is because the situation is very good. They have a good team, young team, so they can improve. They have money. They are serious. But especially for me, it's important to continue with the M1 because first of all, change manufacturers is not easy. It never is easy, especially at my age, at this point of my career. VR46 team with the Yamaha, I laugh because I like the idea, but we don't have the money. So this is a big problem. So it's better Petronas.
Vale, do you know what the timeline will be when you will make the decision, or will it just be how it feels?
I don't want to put a precise moment. During the summer, around half season, the summer break. Now we have to speak also more deeply, but now I can have time. And I don't want to decide one day. I want to decide when I feel ready, and from what I feel from inside. I think during the summer.
Valentino, going to Petronas team would be a chance for you to make like a joint venture, let's say, and to build what could be your own team for the future with your own riders?
For sure, have a collaboration with the Petronas can be great. So we have already the team in Moto3 and Moto2, and for our dimension is our dimension. We can do. For make the team in MotoGP is not easy. And I also think that the Petronas have already the team and they work very well. So maybe Petronas don't need VR46 for a team in MotoGP.
Last question in English.
Were you surprised when Lin came to you to tell you about the decision that Yamaha were making, or did you think before that maybe it was possible?
I was not surprised, sincerely. I mean, I already think at this from October of last year. I remember when I was in Thailand, and because the performance of Quartararo changed the situation, no? Because for sure, if Yamaha don't have Quartararo, maybe we can have also more time. So it was not a surprise. I think this very deeply, but also I think that I don't want to say yes for keep my place in the factory team, and after don't be competitive, because this is the worst thing, especially for me. So I think that this can happen, but I expect, and it was a normal meeting, and you are. You think is the last year with the factory team, but I think that anyway, if I'm strong and I want to continue, change the color of the bike, but for the rest, not a lot.
Thanks to everybody. We start in Italian.
Valentino, la decisión de Yamaha è evidente che è la prima volta dove si dimostra clarissimamente una grandiosa differenza entre squadra ufficiale e squadra satellite, perché è possibile che se non fanno il cambio e mantienen la due squadre a top level, tu puoi correre l'anno prossimo con la squadra ufficiale. Allora se fanno questo change, questo cambio, vuol dire che la squadra ufficiale è la squadra forte, quella che aveva tutto il materiale fantastico, no?
Ma guarda, io lo so che materiale abbiamo noi, so anche che materiale ha Quartararo, che materiale ha Franco, e sinceramente non cambia tanto. Però secondo me è anche che secondo me Viñales e anche Quartararo non sarebbero rimasti per il team satellite, perché avevano sicuramente Viñales, non so Quartararo, ma penso anche lui, delle offerte con degli altri team ufficiali. Quindi forse questo ha fatto la differenza. Però per il resto tecnicamente e anche storicamente i team satellite della Yamaha sono andati sempre bene, perché da Zarco a Quartararo comunque le moto che hanno sono buone.
Sì, Vale, continuando con questa cosa della Yamaha, avrai visto naturalmente una decisione così scatena opinioni differenti, e qualcuno ha detto la Yamaha ha mancato di rispetto al campione Valentino Rossi. Volevo sapere la tua opinione, se secondo te la Yamaha ti ha mancato in qualche maniera di rispetto.
Ma guarda, secondo me, come abbiamo detto fino adesso, mi sembra una cosa abbastanza logica. Ti ho detto, i risultati fanno la differenza, no? E i risultati di Maverick, ma soprattutto i risultati di Quartararo l'anno scorso hanno fatto la differenza, e quindi la Yamaha ha dovuto prendere una decisione, però penso che sia una cosa che no, direi di no, che non mi ha mancato di rispetto, soprattutto perché loro mi hanno detto così, ma poi mi hanno detto se vuoi continuare noi ti supportiamo al massimo con la terza moto ufficiale, ecco. Naturalmente se mi avessero detto corre Quartararo e sei a piedi, allora un po' mi sarebbe dispiaciuto, però così so che sono padrone del mio destino, del mio futuro, e che se sarò veloce e voglio continuare comunque una possibilità di guidare la M1 ufficiale c'è.
Valentino, facendo forse qualche chiacchiera un po' da bar così, ipotizzando un 2021 in Petronas come compagno di squadra, chi preferiresti? Tuo fratello Luca Marini o Jorge Lorenzo?
Allora, io preferirei Morbidelli, perché si parla molto di Jorge e sarebbe bellissimo anche con Jorge rifare il team Rossi-Lorenzo dopo tanti anni, non sarebbe male. Però c'è anche Franco in Petronas, che è giovane, che va forte e che è stato un po' oscurato dalle performance di Quartararo, ma ha fatto comunque una buonissima stagione, e vado d'accordo anche. Quindi penso che quel posto lì al momento quello che se lo merita di più è Franco.
Vale, la domanda non è se secondo me se la Yamaha ti ha mancato o meno di rispetto, ma cosa avrebbe fatto la Yamaha se tu all'inizio di quest'anno gli avessi detto vabbè io continuo 21-22.
Questa è una bella domanda, però io preferirei non rispondere, bisogna che lo chiedete a loro, a Lin, magari lui lo sa.
Tu ci hai pensato di dire vabbè la rischio?
No, perché venire alle gare per me è uno stress altissimo, è uno stress altissimo per tutti, ma quando sei Valentino Rossi è ancora di più, perché è una rottura da giovedì mattina fino a domenica sera infinita di impegni, tifosi, non puoi andare neanche in giro nel paddock, devi stare, l'unica cosa che mi dà gusto è guidare la moto, ecco.
Ma con questa risposta il Valentino Rossi che fa un 2020 anche strepitoso non c'ha voglia di dire vabbè ma andatevene tutti.
Sì, può darsi, sì, certo, perché no? Sarebbe bello anche andare molto forte e smettere, quello sì. Però vediamo come mi sento. Ho paura che comunque correre e comunque la MotoGP mi mancherà moltissimo, anzi sono sicuro, Quindi vorrei proprio, se ho la possibilità di essere competitivo, rimanere perché mi dà gusto. Ecco. Se invece non vado piano è più quello da perdere che altro.
La domanda è, hubiese preferito prendere la decisione tu?
Però sai, il problema è il mercato, il problema è come va la MotoGP adesso e secondo me io penso che non sia neanche tanto giusto firmare con i piloti prima che inizia il 2020. È una stupidaggine, una cosa che solo da noi è così, perché anche in Formula 1 per esempio hanno molti più mesi per decidere, però è così, quindi queste sono le regole del gioco.
Ok, grazie a tutti.
Ciao ragazzi.
Coro. Vittoria, sta partita.
Sì, mira il posto che hai. Giovanni,
¿Qué más entro aquí, Maida? Sí.
Okay, we're going to start with English and then with the Spanish.
Maverick, I think first of all, talk about your contract because you renewed very early. You renewed very early last time as well. And, I mean, we know that Ducati were also very interested in you. So was it an easy decision to make to stay with Yamaha, or were you tempted?
Was not easy because, you know, I needed to clarify many points in Yamaha, which in the previous year I didn't feel really good. But finally, I felt good in Yamaha. As I said, I've felt a lot of support from Yamaha in the last month, especially after the summer break, which I also changed a little bit my mentality and my positiveness into a good results. And for sure was difficult, but I think now we create a strong team. Especially every member for me counts a lot, and this makes a lot of weight, you know, on my decision, my team, my own team. I think we create a good atmosphere, which I didn't want to break it because I felt really good inside the team, and I enjoy racing, which is the most important. And that one was one of the biggest reasons why I stay in Yamaha.
Maverick, did you have a real offer from other manufacturer?
You know, I was very concentrated on myself because I've been, as you know, in Doha. I was training so hard. This role, they take my closest people. So I was not really involved. I was really focused on improving myself. And then when I arrived the day to the site, I decided, you know. For me, as I said, it was very important to have my own team because I felt really good. I felt now all the people I have inside the team understand what I need. And also we are like very communicate and on a good way. You know, I never had that in the previous years. Last year, we created, and I think this year I feel much more ready than previous years. So for me, it was very important to keep the same way and with the same team.
Your problem has been that, as you said, the first laps where often when the grip has changed, the grip is low. We saw often that the Yamaha struggled when the grip was low. When you had grip, you were really, really fast. From this year, you'll be using the new Michelin tyres, which the construction, I think, is a little bit different, and it seems to give a little bit more grip. I talked to Bradley Smith the other day, and he said these tyres are going to be good for Yamaha. How do you see that? What are you expecting from the new Michelins this year?
Actually, since the first lap I did in Montmeló, previous year, I felt it really good. Also, for the way I pick up the bike, also was quite good. So, yeah, for me, it's positive. The change will be positive. But anyway, it will be positive for everyone because more grip brings also the other manufacturers to make a better acceleration and more top speed. So we'll be, for once, positive in one side and for the others in the other hand. But yeah, we will try to deal with that. And also for the first laps, it's much better for us. You know, to have more constant grip will be much better to prepare better the bike for the race. Anyway, our main objective will be the last 15 minutes of every day on the start, you know? So Yamaha is working really hard. It's something we have to improve because every time I start first or second, I had the chance to win, every time. So that will be the main target, to start first or second every race. And that's something we were pushing so hard, and Yamaha is always working on a good way on to improve that start. You know, the jump start is quite good, but then the next part we lose a lot compared with Ducati and Honda. So there we have to improve.
Have you asked Yamaha for anything to help with that? Because we know Ducati has the whole shot device. Have you got anything coming similar?
I don't know yet. But for sure they are working really hard. They are testing with the Japanese test team riders. And seems that still is not done yet. So cross fingers for the first race and to have it there.
Maverick, you went from option number 3 in Yamaha to the reference rider now. Are you ready for this? Because the roles are very different. You now have to carry the responsibility, basically, to do the results for Yamaha.
I feel good when I have that pressure and that feeling. My problem is when I don't have that pressure or that feeling, that I don't feel really good, you know? I don't feel appreciated or somehow kind of work like that. But I like when I have pressure, when I need to do the things, you know? Most of the time I try many things, which in few laps I understand very well if it goes good or not. But many times we were testing so much laps that I lose laps on racing with my race bike, and we lost the possibility to win races. So to take, for sure, if Yamaha give the responsibility, for me will be good, because I can be very precise on the comments, and also the way we are riding the bike is, I think, is on the correct way. And as I said, I like when I have this pressure. For me, this pressure motivates me to be faster every day, not to be slower, you know? For me, the pressure helps to be more motivated and ready.
Maverick, what is your opinion about the decision of Yamaha for your teammate next year, Fabio, instead of Valentino?
It's difficult to answer because I really don't think about it. I looking a lot for myself, trying to improve our weak points, especially from myself, to trying to, you know, now that we want to challenge the championship, we have to make the good points even better and the bad points little bit better. So I don't even think about Valentino or Fabio or whatever. I'm thinking about myself. Now I have 9 days to improve all the weak points and to be stronger on the good ones. So really I cannot answer because I didn't think anything.
Okay, Maverick, you said that you have to start on the first row. It means that the start itself or the qualifications?
Luckily, the qualification always been so good. We've been in the first row for many races. And I think for one lap we are very strong. So yeah, the problem is when we don't have the chance to be in first row. You know, that you are second row, then it's difficult with our bike to overtake or to, especially on the first lap, to gain positions. So that's something we have to improve if we want to battle for the championship, you know, because not every day gonna be first row, because sometimes rain or rain, so gonna be difficult. So we have to be ready if we start 5th or 6th. I think it's the same for everyone, for every rider, for every bike. So only we have to do is improve.
Ciao Maverick, without Valentino inside the box, do you think that you have more pressure or less pressure for you?
It's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. But as I said to Manu, I prefer to have that pressure and to feel that the factory is pushing a lot for myself. I prefer 10,000 times that don't feel the pressure.
Ciao Maverick. Have you had one moment in the last month in which you were very close to leave Yamaha to another manufacturer, or you always were thinking about to stay?
I had an open mind, you know. Finally, I said previously when I finished the championship that this year is a good opportunity for me, for myself, because we improve a lot. I feel I have my team, and I'm fully committed to be ready to fight for the championship. And that I feel now I'm ready, you know, physically, mentally, with the team. I think we can do it. So I was not thinking too much about the teams or to leave or to stay, you know. I was just focused, training on myself, trying to be better, you know, to be around the people I think gonna help me to improve. And I was not really thinking on to move or not move, you know. Finally, I was thinking, okay, if Yamaha prefer this, I will move. If Yamaha don't prefer this, I will wait, you know. But finally, I somehow I felt good support from Yamaha. We went to the factory, it was very positive things, and after we signed the contract, and now I have 3 opportunities to win the title, as much as I can. So I'm going to take the profit with all my team, and we're going to be full committed to do it.
Last question in English.
Maverick, we saw that in Jerez and Valencia you were very, very fast. But we also saw last year that, for example, Petrucci finished the test as fast as Pecco Bagnaia was fast, and yet the year played out very, very differently. So how important is it to be fast at this test, and how important is the work? How will you know if you've had a good test? And how will we know if you've had a good test?
For me, the most important is to prepare ourselves for Qatar race. Not to be the fastest now mean nothing. It's zero meaning to be fast now. It's important to prepare ourselves and to have the maximum, let's say, the maximum chance, or ways to be fast. Maybe if there is no grip, found one setting, during this test to be fast when there is no grip, or with the full tank or without full tank to prepare one lap. All these kind of things, we have to be ready. And for me, if I finish here first or 5th or 6th, means nothing, until I felt we are doing good the job, to prepare ourselves for the first race. And I think you can see I will work really hard especially for the first laps, which I think is the most important with our bike, because after lap 10, we have the rhythm to win the race. But from lap 1 to lap 10, always we struggle a little bit. So we will try to improve that, and then we will concentrate on lap times for sure. If I feel good, I will push. I will make a time attack, and for sure I will try to stay between the first, second, and third. But if I feel still we are not ready, we're going to concentrate again on the race and, trying to improve those things. Because many years we didn't, focus so much. Like last year, we didn't have the time to focus on the start, And it has been one of the crucial points this year, which many races, if I start in the front, I had the chance to win, because later, look in the papers, I always close the gap from the front. So, yeah, that's the main point, to improve in that area. I will be happy if we improve that area.
Okay, thank you very much. Now Spanish.
Maverick, durante todos estos años con Yamaha hemos oído, muchos comentarios, muchas críticas en situaciones, extremas, en situaciones tanto de no tenemos buen material como no me hacen caso o no siguen mi línea, tal y cual. ¿Tú tenías la sensación, te sorprende la manera en que, ha reaccionado Yamaha este año, convirtiéndote realmente en su piloto estrella, en su candidato, dándote toda la responsabilidad después de estos devaneos?
Sorprenderme no me sorprende, porque al final está demostrado en pista. Durante los últimos 2 años hemos tenido la suerte de ser los únicos que hemos ganado con Yamaha, y yo del día 1 hasta hoy siempre he dado mi 100%. Entonces siempre he estado muy concentrado en dar el máximo, y yo creo que eso Yamaha lo ha valorado mucho, sobre todo el dar el 100%, incluso en los malos momentos siempre he dado mi máximo, nunca me he rendido, Siempre he seguido apretando y también apretando a la fábrica para mejorar, que también es importante, porque ellos también deben mejorar. Entonces estoy contento con la reacción de Yamaha, sobre todo por cómo han gestionado esto, Así que contento con la fábrica de Japón, por supuesto.
Maverick, en cualquier caso, si vamos a las últimas carreras del año pasado, por cómo ha sucedido todo de rápido, y lo que decías entonces y lo que dices ahora, algo ha pasado. No sé exactamente.
¿De qué, perdona?
Que algo ha pasado. El hecho de las últimas carreras del año pasado, tú no te posicionabas claramente en seguir con Yamaha. Decías, bueno, no sé, ya se verá, tal. ¿Qué ha cambiado? ¿En qué han reaccionado ellos?
Sinceramente, tampoco es que estuviera muy centrado en mi futuro. Estaba muy centrado en preparar muy bien este invierno para llegar a mañana al máximo, ¿sabes? Entonces, no estaba pensando. Todo ha sucedido muy rápido. ¿Qué ha sucedido? Pues la verdad es que me sorprendió, ¿no? Sobre todo el esfuerzo de Yamaha por parte de Yamaha y la motivación que ellos también tienen por ganar el título. Yo creo que eso es lo más importante. Al final, si estoy aquí es para ganar, para intentar ganar el título, ¿no? Para luchar por ello, que es lo importante. Y para mí era muy importante también llevar a todo mi equipo. Entonces, yo creo que durante el año pasado con Yamaha, de una manera u otra, hemos podido trabajar muy bien con todo el equipo interno. Y creo que también Yamaha estaba mucho más contento que en los años anteriores, ¿no? Que realmente no podía estar bien integrado en el equipo, ¿no? Entonces, realmente la decisión también de 2021 y 2022 nos da como más ventaja a la hora de seguir evolucionando, ¿no? No solo tener la oportunidad este año de intentar luchar por el título, sino también 2 años más. Yo creo que para Yamaha también era muy importante tener a un piloto que previamente haya llevado la evolución de la moto y la continúe evolucionando, ¿no? Porque si ahora ponían ahí 2 pilotos, yo creo, nuevos, hubiera sido difícil seguir con la evolución, ¿no? Y sobre todo con la velocidad que nosotros tenemos. Entonces para mí han hecho una buena decisión, en el sentido en que tenemos una dirección clara, al menos por mi parte de box hay una dirección muy clara, hay unas evoluciones muy claras, y ahora con Jorge, que entra nuevo y sabe muy bien lo que la moto necesita para ser competitiva contra las otras marcas, también iremos todos más en una dirección, y eso era lo más importante, que me demostraran realmente que me querían para estar aquí, ¿no? Y para realmente darlo todo para luchar por el título.
Maverick, completando lo que dice Oriol, ¿ha habido alguna consulta por parte de Yamaha o de Lynn Jarvis de cara a quién podía ser tu compañero de esos 2 siguientes años?
No, realmente no. Al final, yo creo que Yamaha ha movido sus piezas como las han movido. Yo he estado muy concentrado en mi decisión y sobre todo en tener lo mejor para mí. Entonces, estoy contento en cómo Yamaha ha reaccionado, ¿no? Yo creo que desde el año pasado empezamos el año no muy bien, hemos ido evolucionando mucho y realmente Yamaha solo lo ha valorado bien.
Tengo 2 preguntas. Una es sobre Jorge. Has mencionado a Jorge, y Jorge en su época era incluso peor que tú saliendo. Y después el tío se lo ocurrió y tal. ¿Has hablado con él de este tema de las salidas? Porque él corrigió ese problema fantásticamente bien.
Todavía no, pero por supuesto vamos a aprovechar, ya que Jorge está aquí, intentar sacarle sobre todo toda la experiencia que él tiene, porque al final sí, hemos luchado por un título, pero 7 carreras, no todo un año, entonces es complicado. Intentar aprovechar esa información y que luego nos ayude, ¿no? Sobre todo a mejorar la moto, que es importante. Al final, antes lo he dicho, no puedo estar un fin de semana probando tantas cosas y que, por ejemplo, en Aragón solo di 4 vueltas en el warm-up con la moto que salía a carrera, ¿no? Entonces, eso es difícil si tienes que jugarte un mundial, ¿no? Al final es complicado probar y correr, ¿no? Te resta mucho en otros ámbitos. Así que yo creo que la incorporación de Jorge nos va a ayudar en eso, ¿no? Que en carrera a carrera, test, no mezclar las cosas, y eso nos ayudará. Y por supuesto, por mi parte voy a intentar tener la máxima colaboración y aprender, ¿no? de los puntos positivos.
Lo último, el tema de Yamaha. Hemos visto claramente que se ha pasado lo que hemos dicho antes de ser la tercera opción a ser el piloto referencia. Lynn Jarvis era claramente, o su discurso era claramente a favor de Valentino. ¿Este cambio han tenido que ver los japoneses que han entrado en esta discusión o cómo se ha producido?
Es que yo al final siempre lo he dicho, con Yamaha fábrica siempre ha estado perfecto. La verdad es que estoy muy contento con todas las personas que hay en el equipo y siempre hemos trabajado muy duro. El año pasado la incorporación de Sumi creo que sumó muchísimo en nuestro lado de box y pudimos hacer un trabajo excelente. Entonces no lo sé, realmente. Al final Yamaha es Yamaha y para mí han decidido lo correcto y saben que tienen la oportunidad de tener dos pilotos muy rápidos. Y eso yo creo que para una fábrica era lo importante. Está claro que para mí Valentino también suma mucho en el equipo porque entiende muy bien dentro del box la manera de trabajar es muy importante. Además, la imagen para el equipo también es muy buena, pero al final estoy contento con lo que ha elegido Yamaha.
Muchas gracias.